And we're back, everybody. And on the line with us, we have RSA, the security division of EMC. It's their fraud research labs over in Israel. And with us today is Limor Kessem. And we're talking about ransomware, how it's come about, and why different security vendors within the industry are all of a sudden perking up and making customers, both business and consumers, aware of what's going on. So, Limor, go ahead. Continue with part two.
Okay, so part two, I'm just going to say a few technical details about the sort of malware and how to remove it. Well, the most recent wave of ransomware attacks targeted users in a very specific way. First of all, it started off by being very Europe-focused, and it went later into attacking also in the United States. So it would track the user geographic location and present them with a bogus message that's supposed to be their country's police force and holding their entire system captive. And so these attacks have come to be known in the industry as police Trojan attacks. When they were analyzed, that's when researchers were able to see that they just don't have an unlock code. Some of them did, the older ones, but the newer ones didn't. And sometimes when the person entered, a wrong PIN number for the card, for the prepaid cards they're demanding, then it would just lock the system, and that's it. Like, there was just nothing to do about it anymore. So really, this malware is it's a nuisance. And we've seen it only affected Windows-based machines so far, but it was apparently researched that it could go on Mac PCs as well. The most recent variants that I also sent you an article about, we can show this article later, is that the malware was replacing the master boot record on the computer and displays a message asking users for money, copies the original MBR and overwrites it with a malicious code. So right after performing this sort of routine, it automatically starts the system, and the infection takes effect. And instead of starting the Windows bootloader regular, the rogue MBR installed is the one that comes up, and then it starts displaying the message, and you can't get rid of it. Now, the only way to get rid of this sort of a Trojan is to take it to a professional, to take it to a technician, and have them back up the PC and be able to remove that malware. So this is a good time to warn against paying into the ransom. Don't pay the ransomware. Take that money and instead take it to a PC technician, because they would have to start the computer in safe mode and run the antivirus tools on it. And repairing the MBR is really not very trivial, so it definitely requires doing things from the Windows installation disk and getting into the recovery command console. In order to do that, that's not for everybody. Your everyday person would actually have to then go and have that taken care of. One thing that has been making people not want to go outside and ask to get rid of this Trojan is because it always says very embarrassing things. It tells people that they've been surfing into really terrible, porn sites and things that terror and sending spam and different things. So people are like, okay, if somebody sees this, they might think that I actually did these things, and now I have this thing locking my computer. We do see this basically coming from one major gang. We're tracing this back to the Ukraine. So it's not very surprising. This is the origin of this malware. It usually asks for 50 euros to about 150 British pounds, which is the highest amount it asks for. In terms of investigating this, the investigations are ongoing everywhere because police really wants to narrow down on the main gangs running this malware. So I hope we're going to see some arrests eventually, probably in East Europe.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that to be a collaboration of a number of different police forces from around the world.
Yeah.
Pulling information together and making their cases, and then bringing the strongest case to the country where they can have the most successful prosecution.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. All right. Anything else to follow up with, Limor?
No, but pretty much what RSA is concerned about this, we're not going to really be blogging it, but we have shared reports about this malware with customers that have been affected directly by this wave of ransomware.
All right, let me invite you on to the chat with any of those other links that you had sent me. Maybe you can post them up on the chat, and everybody can see that, and they can pull down from there as well. All right. Other than that, thanks for coming on the program, and we'll see your unit next week, and you this coming Thursday.
Great. Thank you, Joe.
All right. Thanks again.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, everybody. So that was Limor Kessem. And Limor is coming, as I said, from RSA Security. RSA. I keep saying RSA Security, but they're RSA now, the security division of EMC. All right, and that's their fraud action labs over in Israel. They do a tremendous amount of malware research over there, and it's a great unit. They come up and they give us these briefings each and every week, so that is definitely a good thing. Let me just